Hello everyone, Commonwealth Realm here. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is finally coming out in less than a week. It's been an incredibly long wait for this game, having been 8.5 years since its initial reveal and 18 years since Metroid Prime 3. Naturally, expectations are sky high after such a long wait, which might explain the rather extreme reactions to the recent previews, featuring a talkative side character. Does this annoying element mean that we should be worried about Metroid Prime 4, or is everyone just overreacting? We'll go over all that and more, but first, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and press that notification bell, and let's get right into it. Metroid Prime 4 begins with lone hunter Samus Aran assisting the Galactic Federation during a space pirate invasion at a research facility housing a mysterious artifact. After a brief encounter with her nemesis Sylux, he mistakenly activates the artifact, which transports them to the unknown planet Vuros. Because the power of this artifact engulfed the entire base, it makes sense that Samus and Sylux weren't the only ones who landed in Vuros, as a few Galactic Federation troopers made it there as well. But the preview demo for media outlets only had one, an engineer named Miles Mackenzie. He's the first person Samus meets, and he's...
You're alone, on a planet, with no hope of survival. But you're also not sitting next to Phil anymore in that cubicle, so... Win?
Yeah, he's a goofy little guy in this cutscene, but then he follows Samus to her next destination, spouting helpful commentary as he goes.
It might be a good idea to check the map and get our bearings. How about we avoid any standing water? Is everything in this jungle trying to kill us? That door just opened all by itself. Shut up!
He also has to be kept alive during these sections, which honestly doesn't look like a hard task. Now, some people are furious about the existence of Miles Mackenzie for two reasons. The first is that his rapid-fire dialogue is annoying and guides the player too much, suggesting that Samus look at certain things or go to certain places. Some would say this goes against the Metroid formula of letting the player figure out where to go and how to get there. The second reason for his disdain is that his presence lessens the isolating atmosphere that Metroid is known for. Needless to say, it's hard to feel isolated when a grunt keeps spouting exposition in your ear. And he is just the first of at least 4 Federation troopers and a robot. The knee-jerk reactions to these companions are quite negative, with people saying that Metroid Prime 4 is already doomed to fail. Some previews focused mainly on Miles Mackenzie in their coverage, with their impressions being more negative as a result. So, are these complaints justified, or are they a bit overblown? Honestly, I had the same reaction to Miles Mackenzie at first. The negative previews made it sound like this guy was going to completely ruin the experience. It made me worry about Metroid Prime 4. That is until I heard how long he was in the 90-minute demo for, about 15 to 20 minutes, so he wasn't even there for a third of the demo. I then watched all of VGC's 20-minute gameplay video. The footage was edited so it wasn't constant gameplay, but he was only in it for about 8 minutes, give or take, and he talked even less than that. And you know what? His awkward dialogue was not enough to deter me from being excited for this game that I've been waiting 18 years for. Even when he was talking during gameplay, I was still captivated by the signature Metroid Prime combat, exploration, and puzzle solving. Although Miles Mackenzie is admittedly a jarring inclusion to the Metroid series, he does not change everything about the game as some might suggest. This still has the DNA of Metroid Prime, with some new additions sprinkled in there. On the other hand, would I have preferred Metroid Prime 4 to be more isolated like the original Metroid Prime? Yes, but I also don't know the full extent of what Retro Studios and series producer Kensuke Tanabe are trying to accomplish with this game. After all, Miles is not the only Federation trooper we'll meet, and that has to be for a story reason. There's potential for these characters to grow on us over time, possibly to the point where some of them meet a grim fate at the hands of Sylux, who we know harbors a deep hatred for the Federation. This could make for some significant moments for Samus as a character, failing to protect those who depend on her. Even this shot right here resembles how most of these troopers depict her as kind of a savior, which makes a lot of sense after she destroyed the planet Phase in Metroid Prime 3. Also, there's a female Federation trooper who looks to greatly admire Samus in this brief shot. Imagine how many other women she inspired with her heroics. Now, I can already hear some of you typing away in the comments, saying that characters in a story like this have no place in Metroid, especially after the travesty that was Other M. Metroid should always be an isolated experience with no other characters to interact with. While I agree to some extent, we have to remember that Metroid has been going down this path for a long time now, starting all the way back to Metroid Fusion. This was an extremely guided experience with Samus's ship computer Adam frequently telling her everything that was happening and where to go. Then in Metroid Prime 2, she was also guided by a character named Umos and holographic projections of deceased warriors. Then Metroid Prime 3 came in and did its best Halo impression in the beginning. Finally, there's Metroid Dread, which had Samus mostly isolated, but Adam was still there to direct her, along with multiple Chozo characters. Or rather, one, as the other was trying to kill her. So honestly, most Metroid games don't have a purely isolated atmosphere, but I think Metroid Prime 4 is going in a better direction than Metroid Prime 3 did. Both games begin similarly, with Samus assisting the Galactic Federation to defend against a space pirate assault. Eventually, the games transition to the exploration-based gameplay we know and love. Only in Prime 3, it takes a long time to get there, about an hour to 90 minutes depending on your playstyle. However, the opening battle in Prime 4 is less than 20 minutes if we go by the Nintendo Treehouse footage, so we'll be getting to that exploration much quicker this time. But now I wonder how often we will have to hear from the Federation troopers we meet later. Will their escort missions be long ones, or just as short as Miles Mackenzie's? Because if they're not too long, then it sounds like they won't be as intrusive as some might fear. I just hope we don't have to escort them all at once like the Bomb Squad in Prime 3. Their death sounds still give me nightmares. The only way I can see these Galactic Federation allies ruin Metroid Prime 4 is if they take up too much in-game ear space. At the end of the preview demo, Miles gained access to Samus's comms, and I really hope he doesn't take that opportunity to tell Samus every 5 minutes what he had for breakfast that morning. The same goes for any trooper that gets comms access, really. And for what it's worth, it sounds like Miles is supposed to be annoying, according to his character bio in the logbook, stating that he is known to be extremely talkative, even while alone. There's even a cutscene where Samus looks to be annoyed with him. Yeah, you can't see her face, but you can just feel that piercing gaze of hers. So if being talkative is part of Miles' character, then I imagine other Federation troopers will be a little less chatty. At least, I hope. Before I conclude this topic, there is one thing about Metroid Prime 4 I'm more concerned about, as it wasn't shown off in the previews: the Viola cycle. Obviously, this looks rad as heck, but after the overview trailer, a few things about it give me pause. Less about the bike and more about the central desert area, Sol Valley. As many predicted, the desert area is a central hub connecting the planet's biomes. Will this be the only way to traverse between biomes, or will there be shortcuts and/or fast travel? Because if not, I could see returning to this area feeling quite repetitive. All we know you can do here is fight enemies, smash into green energy crystals, and stop at various points of interest. What can we find there? I don't know. I hope it's just worth driving around in this big, huge desert for. After all, why include a gigantic open hub area if there's nothing interesting to do in it? I just don't want this desert and the Viola cycle to feel like a tacked-on feature for the sake of it looking cool. Fortunately, it looks like there'll be at least one cool boss battle with it, along with some upgrades that I won't show you here for spoilers' sake. I'm not overly worried about the Viola cycle, as it's drivable in other areas outside the desert. I can just easily see this being a low point for the game if it's not implemented well. And the fact that media wasn't able to try this out at previews makes me feel slightly concerned. But from the footage I've seen and previews I've read, it seems like Metroid Prime 4 Beyond has everything I've wanted from a new Prime game in 2025. Beautiful environments with rewarding exploration and puzzles that make clever use of newly acquired items. Besides, Retro Studios has earned my trust with their golden track record of Metroid Prime and Donkey Kong Country games. So until they make a bad game, I'm just going to assume that Metroid Prime 4 will be another hit from that studio. But now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Miles Mackenzie and other NPCs will ruin Metroid Prime 4? Sound off in the comments below. Before you go, I'd like to tell you about our coverage plans for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, as we'll be coming out with a brutally honest review of the game, as well as an updated Metroid timeline video, with the Prime 4 segment being narrated by me, Joey Ferris. We hope you look forward to what we have in store. Thank you for watching until the very end. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and press that notification bell for more Metroid and Zelda videos. We'd also like to thank our patreon.com/commonrealm patrons. Special thanks go to Royal Producer Jonathan and Heroes Cheryl, Garrett Hoy, Holly Wolf, and Kintaro. You all rock, and please enjoy these 2 awesome videos.